Namaste and welcome to this new lecture in the Indian Knowledge Systems course from IIT Gandhinagar. Today we are privileged to host Dr. Padma Subrahmanyam. She is a renowned exponent of Bharatanatyam, and also a well-known choreographer apart from performer. But in addition, she has a scholarly side which was very central to her development as a dancer and exponent of Bharatanatyam. She studied under the renowned archaeologist and art historian, Dr. T.N. Ramachandran, and she created new theories and new interpretations of a number of sculpted panels of dance poses, or rather karanas, which she interpreted in a new light. And this was a very substantial contribution to the new understanding of Bharatanatyam and Indian classical dance in general. She's also a Sanskrit scholar. She's extremely well versed in Sanskrit texts and in particular Natya Shastra, of course. And she has her own Nrithyodaya school of performing arts, where she has been teaching for decades. And she has been the recipient of many prestigious awards, including the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Sangeet Natak Akademi Award, and many, many more. So it's an immense pleasure, Dr. Padma Subrahmanyam, to have you today and tomorrow. And as our listeners, I think, already know, this course is about this pan-Indianness of a number of art forms, literature forms, and how all of them together help to weave together what we call Indian civilization and culture, despite all the immense diversity. So with this brief introduction, I request you to please take over. Thank you.
Sadgurubhyo Namah. Respected Shri Michel Danino, visiting professor at IIT Gandhinagar, Gujarat, and others who are taking cognizance of the knowledge series with the theme Ancient Idea of India 2021 edition, with particular reference to the Indian web of arts and aesthetics. It's my proud privilege to have been invited to give 2 lectures on the subject of Mārga Deshi dialogue. Michel and his wonderful wife, who has been like his shadow, are known to me for more than 2 decades. I would say they belong to our extended family. He has requested me to divide the topic into 2 halves, namely impact of Mārga on Deshi and vice versa, the inclusion of Deshi in Mārga. I have chosen the topic of today's and tomorrow's lectures like this. Today, I'm going to speak on Mārga, the unacknowledged substratum of Indian performing arts. And tomorrow, I will announce what I will speak. That will be about Deshi. So, I would like to submit that true to the heading of the lecture series, namely Indian Web of Arts and Artists, Aesthetics, it is not easy to bifurcate the mutual influence of Mārga and Deshi. I would think this is the very nature of Bharat, in which awareness of continental civilizational and cultural unity had been imminent from very remote times. Though British, you hear me? I hear some distortion.
It's fine. It's fine.
Is it okay?
It is fine. It is fine.
Though British authorities claim that only they brought whole India under one umbrella, we have to realize that it was they who created the cleavage in the very psyche of the various regions of India. It is Mārga and Deshi which mirrors cultural harmony that had existed in ancient idea of Bharat. My foremost duty is to explain these two terms for those who are not aware of the cultural history of India, which is beyond chronology, well, maliciously constructed to diminish the true antiquity of our country. Unfortunately, followed by every historian today, most of them, and that is the history which is being still taught to our children. Though every aspect of life and knowledge in India had been interlinked, I will try to restrict myself to performing arts because Mārga and Deshi are terms that have come down in this field from around 8th century. Let me quote the definition of Mārga and Deshi from a 13th century work called Nrityaratnavali by Jayasenapati from Andhra Pradesh. I won't go into the Sanskrit, I'll make it as simple as possible. So I'm only giving you the meaning of the definition. That which is delineated in Natya Veda, perceived by Maharishis and propagated by sadhus, is referred to as Mārga by the elite. Next verse says, does it not have the fruit of filling up the lacuna in Natya and Abhinaya? It is popular as Deshi due to the liking of the people of the respective regions. In short, unquote, in short, Deshi, which is pertained to specific regions, is based on inherited collective taste of people. It reflects the regional preference to the way of presentation and the modes of the art in Gita, that is vocal music, Vadya, instrumental music, and Nritta, dance. These three elements together have one common Sanskrit term called Sangeeta. And Sangeeta has been part of what is called Natya, that is theatre art. The Natya Shastra, or Natya Veda as it is called, is an encyclopedic work of Bharatamuni, which is easily the earliest extant text on the science of the art of drama. The theories propounded in Natya Veda form the very foundation of the grammar of performing arts for not only the entire Indian subcontinent, but to the whole of Jambudvipa, as evidenced in the text itself. And Jambudvipa, according to Puranic geography, would mean the entire land mass of Europe and Asia together. Following the tenets of Natya Shastra is called Mārga. And the practical exposition based on regional adherence is Deshi. From even the pre-8th century, these two had coexisted all over Bharatakanda. I would compare this with the coexistence of the lingua franca Samskrita with all the regional rich Prakrits. The first text on Deshi was Brihad Deshi of Matanga Muni, which is considered to be belonging to 8th century ACE. Till around 13th century, all major works on Sangeeta dealt with both Mārga and Deshi. In other words, every region was aware of the common Adi Guru, that is Bharatamuni, and culturally the entire continent was bound by his Natya Shastra. The cultural history of India, and I would say even Southeast Asia, mirrors this undeniable fact. In most of the Southeast Asian countries, the mask of Bharatamuni is worshipped in all the theatres along with those of the Hindu trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Bharatamuni is referred to in Thailand and Cambodia as Prot Rishi. Bharat becomes Prot, and Kru Muni, that is Guru Muni, becomes Kru Muni. And that is a respect that they still have for our Adi Guru in performing arts. And you see this respect beyond the seas. The date of Natya Shastra, which is a sheet anchor of the common grammar, is perhaps of vital importance in understanding the antiquity of the civilizational unity as perceived in what you have called idea of ancient India. Let me try to put the modern history of Natya Shastra in a nutshell. Before that, it is important for you to understand that awareness about this common Mārga got slowly wiped away from North India from 12th century, and from 14th century it was on the wane in South India also. So coming back to the modern history of Natya Shastra, its discovery and publications, it was late 19th century that Paul Renard studied a few chapters, and his pupil Franz Grosse printed and edited the first 14 chapters in 1888. The complete work was brought out from Bombay by Shivadatta and Pandurang Parab in 1894. In 1922, Berard Broller brought the 28th chapter on music alone. Another complete edition came from Varanasi in 1929, edited by Bhatukanath Sharma and Baldev Upadhyaya. Pischel, a German scholar, was the first to mention Abhinav Gupta's commentary on Natya Shastra called Abhinava Bharati. This commentary comes from Kashmir, and it's a little over 1,000 years. We had the 1000th year celebrated a few years ago. When Abhinav Gupta's 1000th year was celebrated all over North India, Ramanuja's 1000th year was celebrated in South India. Manavalli Ramakrishna Kavi edited the whole Natya Shastra, and it came out with the commentary in 4 volumes published by Gaikwad Oriental Series from Baroda. These volumes gradually got published from 1926 to 1956. Manmohan Ghosh translated the whole work in English and published it in 2 volumes, namely in 1951 and 1959. After this, translations appeared in Hindi, Telugu, Kannada, and also a summary in Tamil. The latest edition of Natya Shastra, containing chapters 1 to 7, has been recently published by IGNCA Delhi, edited by Professor K.D. Tripathi, based on the newly discovered Nepali manuscript of Natya Shastra. It is important for you to understand that when Manavalli Ramakrishna Kavi edited the 4 volumes for the Baroda edition, he had collected 44 manuscripts from almost all parts of India, including Malabar. So this itself shows the importance of this work. My research started in early 1960s with the goal of a practical reconstruction of the theoretical analysis of dance aspect of Natya Shastra. I have a deep sense of soul satisfaction. Well, this is something I feel so happy being part of history. I brought back to practice. I dance, and I have created numerous students to perform the Karanas, and also I have been able to reconstruct the pedagogy, the training for body language based on Natya Shastra, and that's what we teach at our Nrithyodaya dance school, which was started by my father in 1942. India saw the resurrection of many Deshi classical dance forms like Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kathakali, Manipuri, Odissi, Kshatriya, and others in post-independence period. My reconstruction, based on sincere research, has revealed the hidden fountainhead, namely the Mārga. Like how uh, uh, from that one fountainhead, you see how many Deshis have come, and what you have today under the names of whatever I said and even more are all the neo-Deshis. But they have connections with Mārga, but mostly even the traditional gurus never knew about the connection. They were not aware of it. So Mārga and Deshi had coexisted whether there was awareness or even without awareness. And this coexistence is perhaps the most powerful, intangible energy for the civilizational unity. The need of the hour is to popularize Mārga and focus on the beautiful scope for unlimited creativity based on Indianness. Because it's very sad to say that in the name of creativity, some of our artists are only turning towards the West. Our students at Nrithyodaya know this link because right from childhood, they do both the Mārga and Deshi together. And now at Kalakshetra, Chennai, my disciple and niece, Gayatri, has been giving lectures on Natya Shastra. They have still not started following the Natya Shastra for practice. They are only learning the theory. Coming back to the ancient idea of India, the internal evidence of the date of Natya Shastra is of utmost importance. Many scholars have suggested many dates. These range from 500 BCE to 500 ACE. 1,000 years range is there in their calculation of the chronology. I have proved in my book, Natya Shastra and National Unity, that the author of Natya Shastra was a contemporary of Valmiki. This is based on internal evidence. I'll only quote some points. I'm not going into the details. These are points to be pondered on. Number one, Bharata himself says that he received the Natya Veda from Brahma in the beginning of Treta Yuga. The Natya Shastra is in the form of a group of rishis asking questions to Bharatamuni, and his answers form the bulk of the entire 36 or 37 chapters. One of the rishis to whom Bharatamuni is addressing Natya Shastra is Valmiki. Second point, Ramayana period is Treta Yuga. Rama's sons, Lava and Kusha, sang the Ramayana in what is called Jati mode and not Raga mode. The term Raga is not used in the Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra only deals with what is called Jati. So Raga is a later concept. Again, it comes close to the period of Ramayana. Third point, it is well known that the inspiration emanating from the Karuna Rasa, that is pathos, experienced and expressed by Valmiki on seeing the death of one of the Krauncha birds was the starting point of his writing the Ramayana in poetic form. The first poem flowed out of him by this vision. And that is why he is called the Adi Kavi, the first poet. And it is quite appropriate that Valmiki sat to learn rasa theory from Natya Shastra, because Bharata's Natya Shastra is the very first work to deal with poetics, particularly based on what is called rasa theory, which I would say has ruled the entire world of aesthetics. Fourth point is, one big puzzle is to realize that in the entire 36, or in some editions 37 chapters of Natya Shastra, so many Vedic gods are mentioned, but there is no mention of Rama and Krishna, the two characters who are dominating theatre world all over Asia. Hence, Natya Shastra is at least contemporaneous to Ramayana, if not earlier. The theories propounded in this unmatched text of universal and permanent value are termed Mārga. That is, the path paved by Bharatamuni. Anything of timeless value is Shastra or science. Hence, there is no wonder that this Shastra got percolated throughout the Oriental culture. Let us turn our eyes to a bird's eye view of the contents of Natya Shastra, which we term as Mārga. However, you must remember one thing. The term Mārga and Deshi is not seen in Natya Shastra. Mārga is a term which came into existence much after Bharatamuni, only to differentiate between the older tradition and the regional versions. So don't search for Mārga and Deshi in the text of Natya Shastra. The entire Natya Shastra can be viewed as answers to 5 questions asked at the very beginning by the rishis. And the answers are scattered with proper cross reference in 36 chapters. The 5 questions are: 1. How did Natya Veda come into existence? 2. For whom was it meant? 3. What are its limbs? 4. What are its means and sources? And 5. How is it reduced to practice? Which is very important. Mere theory is not enough. You have to have practice. The first chapter gives a mythological account of the origin of Natya. On the request of a delegation of both Devas and Asuras, Brahma created the 5th Veda by compiling elements from the 4 Vedas. I won't go into the details. Because the core comes from the 4 Vedas, the 5th Veda is called Panchamam Vedam Natyashastram. This came to be one of the Upavedas. This was created as a, can I call it, an audio visual education to protect dharma, righteousness, right way of life. We call it art of living now. And for art of living, you need drama to educate people, to entertain and educate. And that is why the 5th Veda was created. It was clearly stated that this happened in the beginning of Treta Yuga. For the second question, namely, for whom it is meant for both the poet and the actor. So it is for the writer and the artist. The third question is about the limbs of Natya Shastra. In the 6th chapter, there is an answer to this in just 2 lines, like almost a formula, like what we call sutra form. Rasaha, bhavaha, abhinayaha, dharmi, vritti, pravrityaha, siddhi, swara, atodyam, ganam, rangasya sangraha. So this is a set of technical terms which is almost like contents of Natya Shastra. They're all technical terms. I will try to epitomize the concepts of these elements of Natya. The foremost is rasa. It is the very life of any literature and performing arts, which may be extended to paintings and sculpture as well. Rasa theory was first propounded by Bharatamuni. Later, it percolated into the entire Indian artistic thought, word, and action. This profound theory of aesthetic experience is common to every nook and corner of Oriental philosophy. Rasa is the result of aesthetic experience. It is born out of a whole process of expression of the a whole process of expression of the cause and effect of situations where a particular psychological state of mind gets strengthened. It's an important aspect. I will repeat if you want to write down also. Rasa is the result of aesthetic experience. It is born out of a whole process of expression of the cause and effect of situations where a particular psychological state of mind gets strengthened. Bhava is the term for feeling because it is bhavayanti, that is, it makes one feel. The cause of the feeling is called vibhava. The effect of vibhava is anubhava. The cause is vibhava, effect is anubhava. And transitory emotions are called sanchari bhava because they keep moving. They strengthen a particular state of mind and then they vanish. Like, for instance, if Radha is jealous of other gopis, and if she is angry with Krishna, her jealousy and anger are sanchari bhavas. They are not dominant state of mind. They strengthen the dominant state of mind, which is love, which is Sringara. So these appear and disappear. So they don't have any steady effect. So we have 8 sthayi bhavas, or those feelings which have more dominance. They have a steady effect, and these are called sthayi bhavas. When all these are communicated through an art called abhinaya, the reader or spectator receives the meaning and enjoys. Abhinaya is communication. That experience one gets through the communication is rasa. So that is why I said it's a process. Rasa is the very life of Indian aesthetics, born through, I should say, many avatars like poetics, iconography, music, dance, and drama. And you can extend it to films also, television also. Bharata enumerates 8 dominant psychological states of mind which lead to 8 rasas. Some editions speak of 9 rasas. The 9 rasas are Shringara, which is love, Hasya, comedy, Karuna, pathos, Krodha, anger, Utsaha, valor, Bhaya, fear, Jugupsa, disgust, and Vismaya, which is astonishment. The 9th addition is Shanta, or tranquility. However, the great Shaivite philosopher from Kashmir, I mentioned to you, Abhinav Gupta, who wrote a commentary for Natya Shastra, had a very spiritual explanation for rasa. He elevated rasa experience to Brahmananda, or self-realization. According to him, it is not 8 or 9, but rasa is only 1, because it's a spiritual experience which touches your soul, which removes the moth and reveals your real self, which is nothing but Ananda. So he had taken rasa to a spiritual level, and that is the greatness of our arts, our aesthetics of India. It is just not physical level, it is just not emotional level, not even just intellectual level. It takes you to a very idea of spiritual level. That's why Bharata is called, Bharata Bhumi is called Bharata Punya Bhumi. No other land in the world is called Bharata, like Punya Bhumi. You don't say England Punya Bhumi. You don't say US Punya Bhumi. Only Bharata is called Punya Bhumi. We have to be proud of this. Bhava and Rasa are interlinked. I have to explain Abhinaya to you. You would have heard the term Abhinaya. It's a very popular term, but many people don't know when and how to use it. Abhinaya is made up of two roots. There's Abhi and Ni. Abhi is something which is forward, and Ni is to draw. In other words, it means to draw the concept forward, either towards the spectator or towards the reader. That is Abhinaya. In other words, in simple English, it is communication. And Bharata has 4 classifications of communication, namely Angika, which is physical, Vachika is verbal, that is what I am doing now, verbal communication, ornamental, which is Aharya, which depends on external elements like costumes, makeup, scene settings, and things like that. And Satvika is everything internal because it involves mental involvement. It's emotional expression. And Bharata gives enormous details and technical analysis for body language, taking into consideration every major and minor limb in the body. I wish there was time to show you some demo, but I can say one thing. These are based on both kinetic and aesthetic principles. Under Vachika Abhinaya, every detail of verbal expression, starting from alphabets, pronunciation, tonal value, and the concept of poetics are all dealt with. These are extremely important for the playwrights and artists, actors particularly. Aharya Abhinaya deals with analysis of costumes, colors, makeup, hairdo, scene settings as well. Satvika Abhinaya is one area which needs the artist to get mentally involved. It cannot be taught, it has to be felt. Because it is like Satvika Abhinaya can be understood in simple way. It is externalizing something which is not your own. What is external is internalized. It is internalized, and what has been internalized needs to be externalized to be communicated. So it's a two-way traffic. So this is Satvika Abhinaya, and this is the most difficult part of acting. And then you have the word dharmi for Abhinaya. There are two modes of acting. One is realistic, and the other one is theatrical, that is stylistic. You have the Lokadharmi and the Natyadharmi, the two modes of expression. Siddhi is attainment of a production in which the audience give their, either they are giving you vociferous appreciation. You still have our people in North India saying wah, wah, wah. And in South India, they'll say besh, sabash. And you have claps. And this is at one level. At another level, they call it Devi Siddhi, when the audience are stunned, they are in a trance, and there is absolute silence. So, two levels of appreciation is also given. Swaras are the 7 notes of music. Atodhyam is the orchestra. Ganam is vocal music. Ranga is the, well, architecture of 9 different kinds of theatre and auditorium. It will be interesting for students of architecture to study this chapter and reconstruct the Bharatan theatre. Two elements, namely vritti and pravritti, are being reserved for a detailed review tomorrow. I'm not going into that. A study of Natya Shastra opens our vista for a scientific analysis of artistic creations, leading to a spiritual elevation. Mārga, the path paved by Bharata, was in practice with theatrical understanding all over the Indian subcontinent. Under the Vachika Abhinaya, even languages are classified as Ati Bhasha, superhuman language, Arya Bhasha, systematically refined language. This is Sanskrit. Arya, by the way, I'm sure with Michel there, he would have definitely explained what Arya means. Arya Bhasha means refined language. It doesn't, there is no connotation to the race. Ati Bhasha is Vedic language. Arya Bhasha is Sanskrit. Jati Bhasha is the language of the commoners. And a very interesting classification is there, Yonyantara Bhasha, which is subhuman language of the animals and birds. We have lost this. Bharata mentions 7 Prakrits or regional languages. These are Valika, Himalayan region, Suraseni for Mathura region, I would say plains of Uttar Pradesh. Avanti is for you people in Gandhinagar in Western India. Magadhi is approximately present Bihar and parts of UP. Prachya is for Eastern India. Ardhamagadhi is for southeastern India, and Dakshinatya is for southern region. Apart from the above bhashas or languages, Bharata mentions dialects, vibhashas, of groups of Sakara, Abhira, Chandala, Sabara, Dramida, Odra, and of the forest dwellers. Unless all these diverse sects and sects of people and colored people are thought as belonging to one cultural entity, stories and episodes involving them would not have been conceived. Mārga, though means path in a limited sense, is in reality a percolation of artistry at the continental level. It is sad that its importance is still not acknowledged officially. The present generation of artists, particularly dancers, would do well to get acquainted with Mārga, which will broaden their vista of creativity with a firm footing in Indianness. In the dance field, I have recreated the Mārga technique through an interdisciplinary approach in research. It had been an arduous task of reconstruction of the Mārga technique through a correlated study of Natya Shastra text, its commentary, the relevant sculptures, and inscriptions. My dance institution, Nrithyodaya, and Bharata Ilango Foundation for Asian Culture will be always happy to share this treasure with everybody who wants to come and learn. It is a common Mārga syllabus for all the present deshis, which will enhance their respective styles. I have been having students, I would say, really big established dancers from different parts of India, like Mohiniyattam dancers, Kathak dancers, Odissi dancers. They've all come to us to learn the Mārga technique. And when they go back, they are not spoiling their regional styles. What is happening is they are able to understand the value of their own deshi better. They are able to analyze their own styles better. So this is very, very important. At the moment, Mārga Deshi Samanvaya is something which I am hoping will happen.